Hi, I'm Darren Pleasance, President and CEO of AOPA.
And I'm Michelle Walker, AOPA video producer.
Michelle and I are going to go fly this beautiful Citabria 7GC-BC. It's an airplane that's near and dear to my heart. It's very similar to what I learned to fly in. This is Michelle's first time flying this airplane, so it'll be a true lesson. And the whole purpose of today is really to bring to life the benefits and the fun, really, of learning core stick and rudder skills. It's connecting our head, our eyes, our hands, and our feet together in ways that allow us to fly the airplane better. And it's the kind of skills that will really benefit anybody over the entire life of their flying career. Today we'll practice taxiing and some of the techniques there. We'll practice falling leash, we'll practice Dutch rolls. All of these are techniques that are really good at, again, connecting eyes, hands, and feet. This will be part one, and we'll go do part two separately. So come fly with us.
AOPA keeps flying safe, accessible, and fun by protecting your freedom to fly. We are the most trusted one-stop resource for all things related to general aviation. Become an AOPA pilot today.
All right, so we'll start to taxi out here. There you go, and you'll get used to how much power it takes and how much brake and how much rudder and all that.
Yeah.
It's probably a little heavier than what you're used to.
A little bit, yeah.
And one of the things I like to do on tailwheel airplanes is, just as you just did there, paying attention to the wind. Where's the wind coming from, and then having the controls in the right direction. In this case, it's coming from the front left. And so, stick is back because it's coming from in front of us, and then stick to the left because we've got a bit of a left crosswind as we taxi out. And it's one of those things where I like to just see people do that regardless of what airplane they fly. It doesn't matter as much in a lot of, nose gear airplanes for sure, or heavier airplanes. And so to me, it's as much about just the pilot showing that they've got awareness of what's going on, and they've got, in a sense, the mental capacity to not only taxi and do the radios and things you do on the ground, but also pay attention to the little things that ultimately just mean you're that much further ahead of the airplane than perhaps the average pilot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So one of the things I like to do in any tailwheel airplane I fly is take this moment right before we go fly and just ingrain this sight picture in your head. So look out at the sight picture. Where does the horizon cross the cowl? Right? What are you actually seeing from your peripheral vision as well as over the cowl? Because some airplanes you can't actually see over the cowl. Like for me, I can't see anything forward, but I can see exactly where the horizon is crossing the fuselage here. And what this is doing is just cementing in our brain what a three-point attitude would look like. So for our three-point landings, this is exactly what we should see as the wheels roll onto the ground. So it's just a nice calibration point, and it's your last opportunity to do it before we go flying. Okay, so start pushing the stick forward a little bit. Let's get the tail off the ground. There you go, nice, that's perfect. Okay, and see how I'm starting to skip, a little bit of back pressure, perfect. That was nice, the right wing was down as you lifted off. So go ahead and lower the nose a little bit, we'll climb out of a slightly lower deck angle. So why don't I take the airplane for a minute? I'm going to demonstrate some stuff here.
Okay, you have the airplane?
Yep, I got the airplane. So one of the things I like to do on climb out departing an area, just to make good use of the climb, is just to practice what we call Dutch rolls, which is really all about building that eye, hand, feet coordination that we talked about on the ground. And if I, just looking forward, if I don't put any rudder pressure in, well, you remember this from your early days, but watch what happens to the nose. If I go right, the nose goes left. If I go left, the nose goes right. Right? And this is just adverse yaw. It's a reason we have a rudder, right? And so the whole goal here is to pick some spot on the horizon, and what you're really trying to do is feel it, so you don't have to look at the ball. I can't actually see the ball, so I probably won't be as good as I would otherwise be, but you're going to go back and forth, and what we're trying to do is just use enough rudder to keep that nose basically pointed the direction we're going. And you can go slow, you don't have to go too fast, especially as you're starting off, and we're not going to go too steep either. But what you're trying to do is figure out how much rudder does it take to keep the nose pointed in the direction you're going. And if you do it well, the ball stays pretty much in the middle. And then the more steep you go, you won't keep it exactly on the point, but you can do it with keeping the ball in the middle. And it will usually take a bit more one direction than the other because you have the prop spinning, you got slipstream effect, you got a lot of aerodynamic stuff going on, so it's not equal on both sides. So why don't you go ahead and take the airplane?
I have the airplane.
You got the airplane? And if you want, while we're doing it, practice your Dutch rolls while it's climbing to 5,500. Just go back and forth and just see how well you can do it keeping that ball close to the middle. And don't overly index. Doesn't matter if it slides a half ball or even a ball out, but what you don't want is the ball going back and forth and back and forth. There you go. Yeah. Let's see how the nose is moving.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so pick a point. This will make it even easier if we can. turn towards something. Just pick something out. There could be a city even. It doesn't have to be a mountaintop. It could be a city.
Okay.
And the whole point though is we're going to try to keep the nose pointed at that. And then do whatever it takes with your feet to keep the nose pointed at that. So rather than trying to think, is it more or less, just whatever it takes to keep the nose pointed in the direction you want it to go.
Okay.
And let's just start with shallow turns. So go left. There you go. And then that's too much rudder. See how the nose moved off? Yep.
Yeah.
So try it again. I can feel like your feet moving back and forth. That's good. And now start trying to do a little bit steeper turns. Like that. There you go. And back the other direction. There you go. That's what you're looking for right there. There you go. That's perfect. The nose is staying right where you want it to. And sometimes you'll end up leading the rudder too much and you'll feel it. It's a coordination thing because there's an exact amount of rudder that you'd use to get exactly the right outcome. And again, it might be a bit different to the right than it is to the left. I'll go ahead and do one more and then we'll try something different because this is something you can practice your whole life.
Yeah.
And I do this in a Meridian, I do this in a P-51, I do it in every kind of airplane because it's just such good practice. And the reality is what you need to do is conceptually the same, but how much of rudder and how much of the aileron is different in basically every airplane. So like, if I do a little more, it'll be like that, then it'll be back this way, and back this way. But you can see how the city, whatever we're pointed at, you can't see. I'm just using my peripheral vision, but see how it's basically staying on the nose?
Yeah.
So this is just a great exercise for practicing that. Okay, let's go ahead and shift to something different here.
Okay.
So here we're going to go ahead and do a falling leaf, which is really about can we keep the airplane from spinning when it's in a full stall? And the only way to do that is to be using our feet. So your feet's going to be doing this. You can see the airplane jiggling. I'm moving my feet a lot. We're going to be doing that to keep it straight. Now this airplane, we need to tune the rigging a little bit because it wants to fall off in the left wing. And so what'll happen, most likely, is as soon as it stalls, it's going to want to fall. So I'm going to try to stop it. We'll see if I can. If I can't, it's going to fall off and I'll just recover. And the way I'll recover is make the power's all the way off, which it will be. Add opposite rudder, so in this case, if it falls to the left, I'll add a right rudder, and I'll release the back pressure. That's how we'll stop it. It'll be instantly flying again. If I do it well, though, it's going to try to fall off to the left. I'm going to be adding a lot of right rudder to stop that, but if I hold that right rudder in for too long, it's going to go to the right, and I need to come off it. So that's why my feet will be going back and forth, trying to keep us going in the same direction. So here we go. So I'm going to bring the power all the way off and see if we can get it to stall. We'll hear the stall warning. Then I'm going to do my best to keep us going straight. We'll see how that works, and then we'll turn it over to you. So there's the stall warning, and I'm just pulling it up, and I'm waiting. I'm anticipating it's going to want to go left, and I could be wrong. I'm just looking straight ahead, by the way. I'm not looking at anything inside. I'm looking straight ahead, waiting to see what it wants to do. The stick is all the way back now. There it is. There we go. See how it wants to go right? Okay, see if I can save it. I'm going to stick. It's going to buff it here, but I'm not going to let the nose come up too. I'm going to try one more time here. See how my feet are moving a lot? There we go. There we go. I'm going to see if I can stop it. Come on. There we go. We sort of got it. And then it just wants to get into this buffet thing.
Yeah.
So I'll let you try it. I'm going to bring the power back up again. We'll get out of the stall. So you got the airplane.
I've got the airplane.
Okay. Still carpet is on.
Okay, carpet's on.
Traffic looks okay.
Looks good.
Okay, and I don't see anybody around here. So go ahead and just bring the power all the way back to idle, and as soon as it does want to go left, you're going to want to go full right rudder and see if we can stop it. But as soon as it does stop, you'll have to come off the rudder.
Okay.
Stick all the way back. There you go. See how there's more there?
Yeah.
There you go. Good. It starts to buff it. There you go. Full right rudder. Full right rudder. There you go. You're stopping now left. There you go. Yep. There you go. Just keep hanging on. It's like a bucking bronco. Full right rudder.
Ooh.
That's good. You did it. Awesome. All right, cool. All right, we can come out of it. There you go. Power on up and carb heat in. Great job. That was good. And these are really fun. And again, if we get a straighter airplane, once we tune this a little bit, it'll be a little easier. But you did all the right stuff. Your rudder was going exactly the right direction. But you can practice those in 172s. I mean, any airplane. It's not hard on the airplane. You're just stalled. And again, if the airplane goes into a spin, no big deal. Always in any spin recovery, it's always power all the way off, opposite rudder, then reduce the angle of attack, which is let the stick forward.
Well, that was fun. What'd you think, Michelle?
Yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun and really good experience to practice those core stick and rudder skills. Definitely think every pilot should go out and give those a try.
I believe so as well. Come join us for part 2, coming up shortly.